General Hospital spoilers. Wiley's shocking confession to Tracy rocks Port Charles. Drew and Willow fear consequences they can't escape. Port Charles is no stranger to jaw-dropping confessions, long-held secrets, and the dramatic consequences that follow. But the latest twist might be one of the most unexpected yet, and it comes from someone no one saw coming. Wiley Corinthos. In a stunning turn of events, General Hospital spoilers reveal that Wiley, now old enough to understand the adult world around him, overhears something he was never meant to hear, and his innocent confession to Tracy Quartermaine threatens to destroy the fragile web of lies that Drew Kane and Willow Tate have spun. As this shocking storyline unfolds, expect heartbreak, betrayals, and the threat of legal and emotional repercussions that could shatter families and change everything. It all begins with a quiet afternoon at the Quartermaine mansion. Wiley, now in elementary school and wise beyond his years, has recently been spending more time with his great-great-grandmother Tracy, whose sharp tongue has mellowed slightly in her golden years. Tracy, seeing a chance to bond with her descendant, invites Wiley for cookies and piano lessons. But on this seemingly innocent day, Wiley drops a truth bomb that stops Tracy in her tracks. Aunt Willow and Uncle Drew said they don't want Grandma Nina to know the truth. They said it's safer if she doesn't remember the trip to the clinic. Those words, mumbled with childlike sincerity over a plate of warm cookies, ignite a firestorm. Tracy's expression hardens. She knows there's more to this than meets the eye, and when Tracy Quartermaine smells blood in the water, she never lets go. Flashbacks reveal that months ago, Willow and Drew took Wiley for a routine checkup, while Nina was recovering from a mental breakdown and in the hospital under psychiatric care. But the truth was far more sinister. Nina had accidentally uncovered that Willow had falsified Wiley's medical records to block Nina's visitation rights after the court gave Nina joint grandparent visitation. In an impulsive decision, Drew helped Willow take Wiley to an underground pediatric clinic outside of Port Charles, hoping to get a clean medical evaluation to back up her claims that Nina's involvement was triggering dangerous stress for Wiley. They paid off a doctor, fabricated symptoms, and planned to use the results in court if Nina tried to fight back again. What they didn't know was that Wiley was listening the entire time, and he remembered. Never one to let a juicy secret go unexplored, Tracy immediately begins digging. She starts with legal records but finds no trace of a new evaluation. She calls in a few favors from her old contacts in the medical board, discovering that the name Wiley mentioned, a Dr. Lantry, has a history of practicing in off-the-books locations. The pieces begin falling into place. Tracy's loyalty to family is strong, but her loyalty to the Quartermaine name is stronger. She sees Drew and Willow's actions as reckless, dangerous, and potentially ruinous to the family's reputation. And when she realizes that Wiley is now a legal witness, Tracy faces a brutal decision: protect the child and expose the truth, or stay silent and let Nina suffer. When Tracy confronts them, Drew and Willow go into full meltdown mode. At first, they deny everything. But Tracy doesn't need confessions. She already has enough evidence and Wiley's words to move forward. Cornered and desperate, Willow pleads with Tracy to keep things quiet for Wiley's sake. She insists it was all to protect her son and that Nina was a volatile influence. But Tracy is unmoved. You used a child to manipulate the court system, falsified medical records, and dragged Drew into a cover-up. I can't ignore that, not when the Quartermaine name is attached to it. Michael Corinthos, Wiley's father, finds himself trapped between loyalty to Willow and guilt over Nina. He had always been suspicious of Willow's crusade to keep Nina at bay, but he never expected this level of deceit. When he learns what they've done, his world comes crashing down. Michael visits Nina at Shadybrook, who has just been released and is trying to piece her life back together. In a raw, emotional confrontation, he nearly confesses, but backs out at the last second. Instead, he warns Willow and Drew. If this gets out, it won't just be Nina who pays. Wiley will lose everything. Are you willing to do that to him? Meanwhile, Wiley becomes increasingly confused and anxious. He overhears more conversations about the truth and kids at school begin teasing him when someone leaks whispers of a fake doctor. Wiley, torn between loyalty to his mom and his confusion over what's happening, begins to shut down emotionally. He withdraws from his friends, stops eating properly, and even begins asking to see Nina, believing he hurt her by telling Tracy. It's a heartbreaking twist, as the very person Drew and Willow tried to protect is the one suffering the most. Eventually, Tracy, perhaps against her better judgment, tells Nina everything. What follows is a masterclass in Michelle Stafford's acting range. Nina explodes in grief, betrayal, and rage. She was branded unstable, unfit, and dangerous, all based on falsified records and lies constructed by the very people who claimed to love Wiley. They stole my grandson's voice. They made him a pawn. And now they expect forgiveness. Nina vows revenge, not with violence but with legal and public exposure. The truth triggers a tidal wave in Port Charles. Diane Miller, representing Nina, files for a full investigation into the falsified records, bringing in the state board and threatening charges of medical fraud, obstruction of justice, and child endangerment. Drew faces possible prison time, again, and the Coeur d'Alene board threatens to remove him from Yelku to avoid a scandal. Willow is suspended from the hospital pending an ethics review. The dominoes continue to fall as former allies turn cold. Even Brooklyn distances herself from Willow, saying, "You crossed a line. There's protecting your child, and then there's destroying others to do it." Sam McCall, still connected to Drew, is livid when she learns he lied to her and dragged Wiley into this. Her trust is shattered, and she demands full custody of Scout. Carly, on the other hand, goes into defense mode, protecting Willow and Drew as only she can, even threatening Tracy with exposure of her own past crimes if she continues pushing for consequences. It's classic Carly: fire, loyalty, and vengeance, but even her fiery speeches may not be enough this time. Tracy becomes the most divisive figure in town. Some hail her for exposing the truth and protecting Wiley's future. Others call her a traitor to the family. In private, she struggles with guilt, especially as Wiley becomes more emotionally unstable. Wiley has nightmares, panic attacks, and begins seeing a therapist, who tells Willow and Drew that suppressing the truth and involving their son in a legal war could cause long-term trauma. Tracy watches from the sidelines, unsure if she did the right thing. But one thing is clear: Wiley's innocence was never meant to carry the weight of adult lies. In the final act of this arc, Judge Kimball holds an emergency hearing. Nina files for full custody of Wiley, citing Willow's criminal behavior and emotional manipulation. Michael is served as well. The court must now determine what is in Wiley's best interest, and it may not be staying with his parents. The judge turns to Wiley and asks him gently if he wants to live with his grandma Nina. The camera pans to Wiley's face, torn, terrified, and silent. Fade to black. One thing is certain: the truth bomb Wiley dropped has ignited a war with no victors in sight. Families are divided, reputations are shattered, and Port Charles will never be the same. Stay tuned for the next round of chaos, because in this town, the past always catches up, especially when the kids start talking. Let me know if you'd like to turn this into a formatted article for a spoiler site or add more emotional monologues/dialogue from key characters.